This is LSAT PrepTest 142, Section 3, Passage 3. This is a comparative or dual passage set about free will, neuroscience, and criminal punishment. Medium difficulty set. The trap here is pretty subtle. Both passages accept the same science, but they fight about what it means. Now, don't read this set as being about science versus philosophy, because that's going to mess you up on every relationship question. Both passages take the neuroscience seriously. The split is about the one word free. They define the word free differently, and that one difference changes everything. Now, passage A moves in a straight line. You are your brain. Nothing else causes your behavior. That is the opening punch, and the rest of the passage just follows the consequences. If the brain runs everything, then what happens to the law? The law assumes you make free, rational choices. But brain scans show moral decisions firing in emotional centers, not deliberative ones. And so that assumption is in trouble. Here is where passage A pushes hardest. If people are not freely choosing their actions, retribution makes no sense. You can't punish somebody for a choice they didn't really make. So drop retribution and shift to deterrence, maybe even go lighter on punishments. You want to read passage A at a steady pace. It is one argument moving in one direction, no twists. The thing to track is the chain. Neuroscience kills free choice. Dead free choice kills retribution. Dead retribution means deterrence is all you've got left. Every link depends on the one before it. Now, passage B is where you've got to slow down. It's longer, and it's doing something sneaky. It also accepts that the brain causes behavior. Same starting point as passage A. But instead of following that to the conclusion that free will is dead, it brings in Ayer and soft determinism. Soft determinism is the idea that free will and determinism aren't enemies, they can coexist. Now, here is the key distinction Ayer draws. He splits actions across two buckets. Free actions come from internal sources, your own will operating normally. Constrained actions come from outside, somebody forcing you, a disorder hijacking your brain, kleptomania, hypnosis. The question is never whether an action was caused. Everything is caused. The question is where the cause lives. Internal cause, free action. External cause, not free. So that distinction dismantles passage A's entire argument. Passage A says, brain causes behavior, therefore no free will. Passage B says, brain causing behavior is free will. That is exactly what a free action looks like. A healthy brain doing its thing with nobody forcing it from outside. So same facts, opposite conclusions, all because of how they define one word. Right at the end of passage B, there is a move that's easy to blow past. Ayer himself never talked about brains. He was a philosopher in 1954. But the author of passage B extends Ayer's logic to neuroscience. Actions from a disease-free brain are internally caused. And so under Ayer's test, they're free, even though they're determined. And that last stretch is the author making an argument, not just summarizing Ayer. And so if you miss that shift, you're going to get tripped up on any question asking whose view is being expressed. Now, the most important paragraph is the one laying out Ayer's free versus constrained distinction. That is where the test writers build their hardest questions. If you understand that distinction cold, you can answer almost anything they throw at you, but if you're fuzzy on it, you'll second guess yourself on every question. Now, here is the main trap. Students will read passage B and think it's rejecting neuroscience, but it's not. It's rejecting passage A's conclusion. The science is fine. The leap from brains cause things to free will doesn't exist is what passage B refuses to make. Any answer choice that frames passage B as being anti-science is wrong. Before you touch the questions, check yourself on these three things. First, why does passage A think brain-caused behavior eliminates free will? Second, why does passage B think brain-caused behavior is perfectly compatible with free will? And third, where exactly does passage B's author stop reporting Ayer and start making their own case?